Hello and welcome to another edition of the Archeryshack Shop Talk. I'm Jeremy.
I'm TJ.
We're on podcast 65. Thanks for tuning in. If you're new here, we are the Archery Shack in Anderson, South Carolina. We do a weekly podcast, a weekly live feed, and sometimes a video that comes out on Sundays. Sometimes not, but just let us know if there's anything we can do to help you out. All our contact info's in the description. And if you're local, swing by and see us because we have bows and arrows and broadheads and targets and anything you could possibly want, and we'll be happy to get you set up.
Yep.
I meant to bring it up last week, but we heard last week that there's a new 10-point crossbow out.
Mm-hmm.
What was the name of it?
Oh,
crap.
Lord.
Anyway, a $4,000 crossbow.
Yeah.
The rep is supposed to be bringing one by for us to shoot and play with, but it's along the lines, more people know about like a Raven crossbow. It's a little tiny crossbow, you know, it's like cocked that's like 6 inches or a little over 6 inches. So
It has a rangefinder built into the sight, and it's one of, what is it, the Garmin Zero,
Yeah.
I think it's called.
So this 10-point one is like the Mac Daddy of Mac Daddies. I just don't know how many people would pay $4,000, even though I'm talking, you know, we're talking Cadillac. So what do y'all think? You think many people will buy it? I'm not going to stock one, but do you think it's a good thing, a bad thing, a stupid thing? To me, like, if we went out and spent $4,000 on a rifle, we would at least know 10 years down the road we could probably get our money back.
Yeah.
But like a $4,000 crossbow in 2 years might be worth $1,000 or $1,500. So like, you know, you're just, I don't know. I'd have a hard time spending it.
Let's see. It is called the Vapor RS 470 Zero.
So check it out. If we get a chance when he brings it by, I may do a little short video on it. But that's some crazy. When I said last year, 10-point had one that was $3,000, and Raven, the R29X, according to what package you get, but they have almost a $3,000 one, and I'm like, good Lord, this is getting crazy.
It's getting crazy.
I mean, we're getting out there, but just curious. Let us know in the comments what y'all think about it.
Well, you know, now along the lines of that, we can start flipping coins to see who's going to be the first bow manufacturer to make one that go over 2.
Yeah, it won't be long.
I
think Hoyt's been always on the leading edge of being the highest regular bow out there. You know what I mean? Not really counting tournament stuff, but like their carbon stuff and all that keeps getting more and more and more expensive. So
I agree.
it won't be long, and as long as people keep paying it, they're going to keep going up.
Exactly.
Also in the comments, how many of you have Robin Hooded an arrow before? I'm just curious to know. Because it's cool when we have somebody out here shooting that comes in and is like, man, look what I just did. I Robin Hood one, or they'll send us a picture or whatever.
Yep.
And then other people are like, man, I've been shooting forever and I've never done it. So I'm just curious to know if you've done it. And actually, if you've got a picture of it, hop on Facebook if you got one. We got a group called Friends of the Archery Shack. Say, hey, I may even try to remember and just post a topic in there when this podcast comes out, but I was listening to the podcast. Here's my picture of my Robin Hood. I'm just curious of if you got pictures of it, anything cool, how far was it, all that sort of thing. Somebody asked, we've talked about this before, but about peep sizes, like in general, what size is best for what?
A 3/16 is pretty much all around go-to standard sizes in pretty much any bow that you know, if you buy it from a box store or whatnot, it's pretty much a 3/16, but then, you know, from 3/16, you can go up to a quarter. It used to be every deer hunter or bow hunter had a 1/4-inch peep sight in their bow, because when you got in that early morning or real low light condition, it'd let a little bit more light in, and you could find your sight, your pin a little bit better. But now everybody's pretty much a 3/16, and I mean they make them all the way up to what, 5/16 now?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if they make them any bigger. Yeah, and a 5/16 is huge.
It is.
So the downfall of a huge one like a 5/16 is, yeah, you can see, but then you got to focus more on centering up your pin in the peep sight. You know what I mean? Like, if I get even a 1/4 inch, last time I shot one, like, I caught myself like, am I dead center this peep sight? I'm just, especially just if you don't have a single pin where you got a ring to line it up with. Let's say you got a 3-pin or a 5-pin, it gets even more sketchy. So
yeah.
I don't know. There's a fine line there somewhere, but 3/16 across the board is what I'd say most common of what we see. And then we do a few 1/8 inch peeps. We do a few 1/4 inch peeps, and in between those is kind of our thing. And then of course, we still have people come in and I want the 5/16. That's fine. We'll put it in for you.
Yep.
But it's huge. So
It is.
if I was just saying in general, I'd say 3/16. And then, some little study came out several years ago, and a guy said different colored peeps can affect light differently. And I forget, if I remember right, I have to find all this again, and I could be completely wrong saying this, but I think he said a green peep like lets you see more light than, say, a purple peep or a black peep or whatever. So I remember I read that, and I thought that's kind of interesting study.
Yeah.
But anyway, then you got colors and
Oh man.
what loop material do we use? Somebody asked. The BCY 24 is what we generally use. They also make a BCY 23, which is a smaller diameter, and it works good for like a rest cord, like a QAD or even a limb-driven rest, because it's a little smaller. And then we get that glow loop y'all have heard us talk about. It comes from Gibbs archery gear. And I really feel like there's probably one company, and it could be BCY, behind the scenes making all this loop.
Yeah.
But they make the 23 and 24 I was talking about. But, even Pine Ridge makes a decent loop material.
Yep.
I'm missing people, but, there's a ton of people. But, yeah, PSE makes their little pre-made loops.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of 30-06, I think, has some.
Even like Walmart, you can buy the little
Yeah.
knock and loop kit, or I think used to could. I don't know who makes it. But
Bonin, I think.
True. What am I talking? BCY number 24 is my favorite. It's just good all around loop material. We played with it in here a little bit. I think certain colors stretch more. Like the camo stretches way more than a solid color, and then out of the solid colors, the white seemed to be the least stretchy. I guess because it don't have as much or any dye in it or whatever. But it's just like right now we got some flow green, and that stuff stretches like crazy for whatever reason. And it's just like string material, like if we build a string out of a white color or natural as they call it, it's pretty much got no dye in it, very little thickness, but if we build one that's like flow yellow, is way bigger strand size just because it's got all that color in it. So, but anyway, that's sort of, you can find that loop. I think I might have it in the script. I think I put it in the description, but you can find it anywhere. What do y'all think about shops charging to test fire bows? Had this discussion a while ago with a guy, and he said ultimately the reason he came here and bought a bow was one shop told him it was going to be like $50, that he needed to come up there
and do a lesson.
Ultimately, the way he told it, they wasn't going to set up 2 or 3 or 4 bows and let him see what he likes. You're going to do a lesson, and then that's it. You're going to figure out what bow you want. So
then he went to the other shop,
and they just flat out told him they wasn't going to let him. He needs to know what he wants, I guess is the way to put it. They weren't going to let him shoot several bows. It was too much trouble. And then he called us sometime last week, and before he told me all that, I'm like, yeah, man, you can come in here and shoot every bow we got. You know, everybody likes something different. He was like, really? And then after we got to talking, he tells me that, and I'm like, good Lord. But he came in today and shot a couple bows and picked one out and everything. We sighted him in and everything. So that's one thing I really like about being at our location. We're off the beaten path a little bit, but we got an outdoor range out to 100 yards. So this guy in particular, he bought a bow with a 4-pin sight, hadn't shot before. I went out there, gave him a couple pointers on his form, set his peep sight, cut him some arrows, set him a 20, 30, 40, 50 sight, You know, at 20 and 30, he's drilling. Still needs to shoot some at 40 and 50, but he walks away happy as he can be.
Oh yeah.
Literally, other than he needs to practice a little bit in his backyard, he's ready to go hunt a deer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, most shops, at least in this area of the southeast, if they have anywhere to shoot, and that's a big if, it's just a 20-yard range, you know.
Yeah.
So it's like, wish you the best, have a good one, here's a bow. I'm glad we don't do it that way. Like,
that's what I was gonna say. Probably most of them is just pick it up off the wall, pay for it, take it home, and you gotta figure it out yourself.
So anyway, not to toot our own horn, but I'm just kind of glad we got the range and the stuff we got out here.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as charging to test fire bows, I think that's crazy. I mean, you wouldn't go pay to test drive a car. And, you know, sometimes on our end it does get a little, especially during the busy season, it gets a little bit aggravating because you'll get a guy come in wanting to shoot 5 bows, and then he knows he ain't going to buy anything. He's just here to play.
Yeah.
But, you know, you kind of know, and it ain't that we don't want those people to shoot a bow, but, you know, if we got a shop full of 10, 15 people, you know, we kind of have figured out how to prioritize people.
Yeah.
And, you know, if somebody's just kicking the tires, yeah, we'll let you shoot a bow, but you might have to wait a little bit. But that's just during the busy season.
Yeah, most of the time it's not really that bad. And I mean, it's got to where now, I guess with so much information being on the internet, most people walk in and they're they know what they want. If you got it, that's great. If you don't, we can order it to a certain extent.
Yep.
But now, you know, it's just people's done their research. They know what they want, and that's the way it goes.
Mm-hmm. What's the best way to find my draw length? Easiest we found, and I'm glad we started doing it this way, but it'll literally get you most of the time within a ½ inch, is to measure your wingspan. You know, hold your arms out at your side. What do you call that? Horizontally.
Mm-hmm.
Measure birdie finger to birdie finger, end to end. Divide that by 2.5, and that'll give you your draw length. And very rarely do we do that and it be wrong. You know what I mean? So, and that's just there's a ton of other ways to do it. Like, I mean, you can make a fist, put it against a wall, measure from the wall to your face, but like then it comes into
how much pressure and
how much pressure, how much bend you got in your arm, and then you can do like what we used to do at Bucks and Bass was and I still got it. We had this little 15-pound, 20-pound recurve, and it has a draw length arrow in it. But it does load up as the further you get back some, and people I'd notice would have a ton of bend in their arm and wouldn't be at full draw. Mm-hmm. So it was more about trying to coach them to actually hit their draw length, and then it would end up being short and just a mess. And then if I was going to do it that way, like we've done it with a Genesis bow before, that's a pretty good way to judge it. But I just feel like you holding your arms out, there's not really a way to screw that up. You know what I mean? Unless you're just like super hyper extended and trying to, you know. So that's what I'd say. Birdie finger to birdie finger, divide it by 2.5. That's going to get you real close. And don't forget to add in a quarter to maybe a ½ inch of loop. You know, so if a guy comes out today, a guy come up to 29.4. So I set him up on 29 and then the loop, and it was perfect, you know. So don't forget about that extra loop length. Our bear bows have come in, not all of them, but we had, about 20 come in a couple, 2 or 3 weeks ago now. So we got those ready for Christmas. A lot of packages, a lot of kids' bows, ladies, men. I mean, we got all kind of stuff from Bear. Primes will be piling in sooner than later. We got some PSCs on order. So I like this time of year, but we're kind of gearing up for Christmas. Already seeing some people asking about Christmas, you know, and I think we got in 6 Bear Royales of the favorite of mine. I can't hardly see it, but like this lime green camo-y color. When a couple of them came in, it's gonna be neat for a kid. And
I think there was a couple of the legits had come in. They're like a step above the Royale.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we got a couple of them. But
all these are like $300 and $400 price point, whole packages. You know what I mean? So
we do got a couple bear bows in here.
Yeah, But just let us know if you need one for Christmas or for a kid or whatever, because we have got them. And if it goes like last year, like all these 20 couple bows will be gone, and we'll be reordering at Christmas time. But they're ready to roll. Let's see here. Best beginner recurve. I would say the Samick Sage. You know, because you're looking at, according to what options you get, 110, 120 bucks, and you can actually, if you look on this channel, it's probably been 8 months ago plus, but I did a video of sort of like the setup and tuning of a Sage, and it's kind of neat to see. But for that money, it's a decent bow. They sell literally thousands and thousands. We don't, but across the board, that's the most popular recurve out there. For the money. I mean, you can kill a deer with it, you can shoot in the backyard with it, whatever. So, of course, you can spend a whole lot more money, but if you're just starting out, check that bow out, because it's a. Somebody asked us to talk about, since we're kind of getting into the season of indoor shooting, like indoor setups in general, like what to shoot, what to get ready for. So
that, I mean, in our part of our neck of the woods, that's pretty much going to be my 3D setup, because we don't have much indoor. And I'm not an indoor fan. I've said it before. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like to shoot it. It's just that I get bored with it there after, like on the Vegas round, about the 4th, 5th end. I'm ready to do something else. I'm ready to shoot something else besides a yellow sticker by a yellow X.
I really like indoor. There's just not enough of it going on around here. But like in general, an indoor setup is either going to be a fat carbon or a fat aluminum arrow. You see longer bows for indoor,
38.
37, 8, 9, 40, 41 inch bows. You don't really need any poundage because you're just shooting 20 yards. So you'll see a lot of people shooting 50, 55 pounds or less. With a lot of tip weight to make up for the spine. Generally for 3D, you shoot a bigger scope, but for indoor or field, you shoot a little bit smaller scope. But like TJ said, around here, it's just kind of an all-in-one. But I've seen anywhere from a 4-power to a freaking, what did Doohickey have? He had a
14 power.
14 power. 14's stretching it, but like between 4 and 8 power is kind of the most common. The more power you got, the more you see yourself moving around. So 4 to 6 power is what I personally have shot indoor. But, and that's pretty much it. And it bow weight, as far as physical weight, don't matter, because you're literally just shooting in one spot and sitting the bow down. So you'll start seeing a lot of, 20 couple ounces out in the back on the back bar, and 10, 15 on the front, because you're not walking with it through the woods or whatever. That's just in general what you'll see. It used to always be aluminum arrows indoors, but now it's more and more and more carbon, because they make big ones, like the PS-27, and Gold Tip's got all sorts of different stuff, and Victory and whoever. But so that's just in general the indoor stuff.
It's depending on what part of the country you're in, depends on how big it is. Used to be you had 2 or 3 different bows, one for field, one for 3D, one for indoor, but now it's just got to the point where you run one bow for pretty much everything.
Well, like I got the 39-inch Black 9 that I'll probably keep and actually designate as an indoor bow. And when Prime starts coming out with a little bit for 3D, I like a 36, 37-inch bow. That's kind of where, like, 37 is my number. But because 39, if you're really walking around, that's a lot of stuff to hunk around, you know what I mean? But I'm thinking, and like even back in the day, I shot a 41-inch Conquest 2, Conquest 3, Conquest 4 for indoor. So, like I say, you don't have to tote them around, it's just there. But how many people out there are left-handed? We have got some Bear packages coming that are left-handed, and some Prime bows coming left-handed. I'm just curious it's always weird for us. Like we'll order a couple left-handed bows and never sell them.
Yep.
And then like last year we ordered 0 left-handed bows and had probably
15, 20 people.
yeah,
At
and
least.
it wouldn't have mattered what bow it was. They just needed a left-handed bow. So we're going to try it again this year. Keep a few left-handed accessories, a few left-handed bows, and some sights and stuff will flip back and forth now, which is nice. But how many of y'all are left-handed that shoot? Is the Genesis bow the best kids bow out there currently? That's according to what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, and also a price point too.
Yeah, because like for around $220, $240, you can get like a Genesis package, that comes with a couple arrows. And now here's what I've been liking is, well, I guess I need to separate this into really 3 groups. One is if your kid is involved in the archery and school program.
Yeah.
That's the only bow they can shoot.
Yep.
And that's the bow they need to get to practice with. And they can only shoot the Easton aluminum arrows and all this. So that's exactly what you need to get.
Yeah.
There's no question. Then in the middle of the ground is a guy comes in and says, I got 2 or 3 kids. I wish I could just buy one bow. That's probably what he needs to get.
Yeah.
But minus the aluminum arrows because you'll warp them.
Yeah.
So like I really like putting our own little package together like we did with the guy a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
I said, let's get just the bows, but let's put some carbon arrows with them and that sort of thing. That way they're not going to bend and, But you don't want to switch the arrow up if your kids are shooting in the National Archery and School Program at their school because that's the only arrow they can shoot. You don't want them shooting one way at home and another way at school. But then there's the kid that you want like a super adjustable bow with let off. So the Genesis bow is like a recurve. I know it's got cams. It's a single cam bow. But it literally from 15 to 30 inches has the exact same poundage. It never lets off. Let off like a regular compound bow, 70 or 80%. When you get to the back, boom, instead of holding, 30 pounds, you're holding whatever, 5. Yeah. That is going to be the kids that want to get into hunting, into regular tournament archery. That's 80% of what we sell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's just the Bear Royale. It'll go out to 27, 28 inches. I mean, I could shoot it, but
29, I think.
It's got let off.
I know it ain't 29.
I mean, look, it's got let off. It's super adjustable on the weight. And the main thing I would say is you don't want a kid to struggle with it because, if they're struggling to pull it back, if they're struggling to do anything, they're just probably going to give it up. Let's see here. 12 to 27 inch draw. The Royale is 290 feet per second, 50 pound max. Axle to axle is 27. So like, that's a good bow for just let's say up to about a 13, 14-year-old.
Yeah.
And they could shoot it well past that, but like if a 13 or 14-year-old come in, I'd probably go ahead and bump them up to something like a Species or a Cruiser or a Legit. But in general, the Genesis is a great bow. It's a great backyard bow. Like if somebody comes in and says, I'd like to just buy a bow for me, my wife, my 2 kids to shoot in the backyard, we're probably going to point them towards something like that. Because like you got like recurve and that, because it's not like you can buy a prime or any men's compound bow and then your wife and your kids and everybody's going to shoot it. It's not going to happen without a lot of adjustment. So I don't know if any of that talk helped, but I think the Genesis has definitely got a good place out there. It's just not, if your kid's geared toward hunting or regular tournaments, I'd probably say no. It's really just geared toward the school program, and if somebody wants one bow that everybody can shoot.
Yeah.
So,
that's what I was going to say.
But it's it's according to what, like, some of the camos are a little more money because they got to pay, I guess, for the pattern or whatever. But like, I think you can get the Bear bow for what, $180, $200.
I think so.
And then the package is $220, $240, somewhere in there. So and
then they've got like what, 4 or 5 different models of the Genesis bow out there?
Yeah, there's like, now for the school program, it's got to be just the regular Genesis. But they make a mini, which is even smaller, and then they make the Pro, which actually has
a draw stop.
It still don't let off, but it's got a draw stop that comes around and hits the limb. So what I used to do back in the day when it first came out, to give a kid, somebody want to buy their kid one, but like the kid, you got to train them to stop at their anchor point. But most kids will want to pull it back and take their ear off, you know.
Yeah.
I would actually take and serve the cables, and where they would come touch the cable slide, I would put a knock point, so they would stop at the cable slide, and that would make them just boonk. They can't go no further. But the Genesis Pro has got a limb stop and a million different little slots, and you just put it in there and it stops and hits the limb. So, but it's not allowed in the school program.
No.
So anyway, that's and there's a G2 version now and all kind of stuff. But anyway, what's the average cost of cams and limbs if I wanted to change mine? He didn't say what bow. Let's give a big in general. Like in general, limbs are around $150, and then like really about the same for cams. But like on the prime bows we stock, the cams are a little fancier. You know what I mean? There's a 2-track system, so they're like $200.
Yeah.
On like say a Matthews, they're 100, 150 according to what model you got.
Yeah.
And I always tell people, you know, look on like eBay and Archery Talk and all that, because every now and then, especially if it's a common size, you might find them on there used and save a fortune. But
yeah,
it's not super affordable. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I mean, just figure between $300 and $400, because like on some of your Hoyts, if you're changing, you know, a complete cam family, let's say you got a number 2 cam with number 2 limbs, and you go to a number 3 cam and number 3 limbs, well, then you've also got to have a new string set made.
Yeah.
So then, you know, so you figure, but just as general, you know, cams and limbs, you're looking about $300 to $400.
I think it gets a lot more expensive. People come in and ask us, and after we tell them, all right, you're going to change this, and plus there'll be a little bit of labor fee, and you know, because to change all that for us is a easy hour, and I mean that's not counting really retuning, and I mean you got to take the complete bow apart, change them out,
put it back together.
Yeah, retune it, retime it. There's a lot to it, but I don't think people you know are expecting to hear $300, $400, $500. They're thinking $50, but and it's according to what bow you got. You know what I mean? There's like some older Matthews single cams. You can find a cam for between $30 and $50 on eBay, and it actually takes the same string. So it's like for $10, we'll swap it out. You just grab the cam off eBay. But then like for a prime, you know, you're looking at like $200, and a lot of even other bows are $150, $200. So it's just according to what you got. But look on eBay and Archery Talk first. What else has happened in here this week? Anything crazy?
Not that I can think of.
I think we've covered. If y'all got questions or anything, of course, put them in the comments. We'll try to cover them on the next one. Check out our Friends of the Archery Shack page on Facebook and our live feed that pops up on YouTube on Thursday nights. But thank y'all for listening. If there's anything we can do for you, check out all our contact stuff is in the comment or the description section. And we really appreciate y'all listening. This was number 65?
65.
So we keep on trucking along, but
64 more than I thought we'd be doing.
No joke. No joke. But we'll see y'all next week. Thank you for listening, and y'all be safe out there.
See ya.